Unraveling the Secrets of the Galactic Empire. Unraveling the Secrets of the Galactic Empire. The whisper of rebellion. The Galactic Empire had stood for over 5 centuries, its rule extending across thousands of star systems. Its iron grip was maintained by the Supreme Chancellor, a figure shrouded in secrecy, ruling with an unseen council known only as the Circle of Dominion. The Empire's military forces, the Obsidian Legion, patrolled the stars, ensuring that no voice rose against them. But in the shadows, whispers of rebellion stirred. On the desolate moon of Virelia, hidden within the ruins of a forgotten civilization, a group of insurgents gathered. Their leader, a former Imperial officer named Kale Drayden, had once been loyal to the Empire, until he uncovered the secret that turned him into its greatest enemy. They control more than just planets, Kale spoke, his voice echoing in the underground chamber. They control time itself. The gathered rebels murmured in disbelief. The Empire had always been known for its advanced technology, but Kale had discovered something far more sinister, a machine buried deep within the Imperial core, capable of rewriting history itself. The archive of forbidden truths. Deep within the core of the Empire's capital world, Novastris, lay the Grand Imperial Archive, a massive vault of data hidden beneath the palace. Legend spoke of a place where knowledge was rewritten at the Emperor's will. Kale's source inside the Empire, a rogue historian named Sarah Valen, had uncovered fragmented records, files that vanished moments after they were accessed. She had risked everything to bring what little she had to the rebellion. This machine, the Chronomatrix, isn't just a weapon. It's how they've stayed in power for centuries, Sarah explained. Every time a major threat arises, they alter history to erase it. Kale clenched his fists. Then we have only one option. We break into the heart of the Empire and destroy the machine. The journey to Novastris. The rebels knew they couldn't storm the Imperial core directly. Instead, they devised a plan to infiltrate it under the guise of an Imperial envoy. A stolen transport ship, falsified clearance codes, and disguises, this was their only hope. The journey through Imperial space was tense. Every checkpoint, every scan, every Imperial officer who glanced at them felt like a blade hovering over their necks. Then, disaster struck. Halfway through their journey, their ship was intercepted by a figure from Kale's past, High Commander Valen Drax, a ruthless enforcer of the Empire. I always knew you were a traitor, Kale, Drax sneered, stepping aboard their ship. Did you really think I wouldn't find you? A firefight erupted within the narrow corridors of the transport. Blaster fire illuminated the darkness as the rebels fought their way out. With sheer desperation, they managed to escape, but not before Drax transmitted an alert to the Imperial core. Their cover was blown, the heart of the Empire now fugitives within the Empire's capital. Kale and his team moved through the underbelly of Novastris, guided by Sarah's knowledge of hidden tunnels and forgotten passages. As they neared the Grand Imperial Archive, they encountered the Keepers of the Veil, a secretive order that had long protected the Empire's greatest secret. These warriors, enhanced with cybernetic implants, were far more than ordinary soldiers. A brutal battle ensued. Though skilled, the rebels were outmatched, until Sarah activated an ancient override hidden in the city's infrastructure. For a brief moment, the power grid flickered, allowing them just enough time to push through to the archive. Inside, they finally saw it, the Chronomatrix, a towering construct of shifting light and energy. It pulsed with a rhythm that felt almost alive. Data streams of rewritten history floated around it, showing glimpses of alternate realities that had been erased. Kale stared in horror. They've erased entire civilizations. Sarah rushed to the control panel, trying to disable the machine. But the system was locked. Only the Supreme Chancellor had the authority to shut it down. Then, the doors slammed open. High Commander Drax stood at the threshold, flanked by an elite squad of Obsidian Legionnaires. The battle for time. Step away from the controls, Drax ordered. Kale raised his weapon. You have no idea what this machine has done, do you? Drax smirked. Of course I do. I serve the Empire to preserve order. Some sacrifices must be made. The chamber erupted into chaos. Blaster fire tore through the air, and the rebels fought with everything they had. Sarah desperately tried to override the system, but the machine resisted. Then Kale saw it, an emergency shutdown key, hidden behind layers of security. He fought his way through the crossfire, reaching it just as Drax lunged at him. the two former allies clashed in brutal combat. Every strike carried the weight of years of loyalty and betrayal. Finally, Kale gained the upper hand, slamming Drax against the console. With one final strike, he activated the shutdown sequence. The chronomatrix began to overload. The collapse of the Empire. A deep tremor shook the city as the machine imploded. Without the chronomatrix's influence, history began to correct itself. Events that had been erased started to reassert themselves, and across the Empire, long-lost civilizations reappeared, memories returning to those who had been altered. The Supreme Chancellor, sensing the unraveling of power, fled into the void, his fate unknown. The Obsidian Legion, once bound by artificial loyalty, fractured. The Galactic Empire, after 5 centuries of rule, was no more. Kale, wounded but victorious, stood amidst the ruins of the archive. Sarah approached him, her eyes reflecting the weight of all they had done. "We changed history," she whispered. "No," Kale said. "We restored it." As the dawn of a new era began, the survivors of the rebellion looked up at the stars, now free from the shadow of the Empire, ready to forge their own destiny. Powerful Galactic Empire, filled with intrigue, war, betrayal, and the struggle for freedom. Unraveling the Secrets of the Galactic Empire. Prologue. The rise of the Celestial Dominion. For millennia, the Galactic Empire, known as the Celestial Dominion, stretched across the stars, ruling over thousands of worlds with an iron grip. Born from the ashes of fractured warring civilizations, it promised unity, stability, and order. At its peak, the Dominion was a marvel of technology and power, its fleets patrolling the cosmos, ensuring no rebellion threatened its supremacy. But beneath its shining exterior lurked dark secrets, secrets buried beneath the golden towers of Imperial command, secrets whispered in the corridors of power. The Empire was built on manipulation, conquest, and betrayal. And as with all great empires, its greatest enemy lay within. This is the story of its unraveling. The Emperor's Gambit. High Sovereign Varys Kane sat upon the celestial throne, his piercing silver eyes scanning the holographic projections before him. Reports from the Outer Rim spoke of unrest, whispers of sedition growing louder. His empire had stood unchallenged for centuries, yet the seeds of rebellion had begun to sprout in the shadow of his rule. Kane was no fool. He had risen to power through cunning and ruthlessness, assassinating rivals, manipulating senators, and eliminating entire bloodlines to cement his rule. But even he knew that brute force could not sustain an empire indefinitely. "Your Excellency," came the voice of Grand Admiral Tiberian Vor, his most trusted commander. The Outer Rim insurgents grow bolder. Reports indicate they are led by an enigmatic figure known as Orion Vale. Kane's brow furrowed. The name was unfamiliar, but the implications were clear. Someone was bold enough to challenge the Dominion. He had to act swiftly. The spark of rebellion on the desert world of Vashira. 9, a gathering of revolutionaries convened in an underground chamber. At the center stood Orion Vale, a former Dominion officer turned rebel leader. Clad in battle-worn armor, his eyes burned with determination. "The Empire's strength lies in its fear tactics," Orion declared. "But fear only controls those who have hope left to lose. We have nothing left to lose. That makes us dangerous." Among his followers was Lyra Cade, a brilliant strategist and former intelligence officer, and Dane Ralvek, a hardened warrior who had lost his family to an imperial purge. Together, they formed the core of the rebellion, orchestrating strikes against supply lines, sabotaging warships, and rallying disenfranchised worlds to their cause. Their ultimate goal? The capital world of Zirith Prime, the heart of the Empire, shadows within the Empire unknown to the rebels. Kane's own empire was beginning to fracture. His most trusted advisor, Lord Malric Torvith, harbored ambitions of his own. Torvith had long plotted against Kane, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. "The Emperor is vulnerable," Torvith whispered to his co-conspirators. "The rebellion is merely a symptom of his weakness. If we act now, we can seize power before the Empire collapses." Among his allies was Lady Seraphine Vale, Orion's estranged sister, who had been raised within the imperial elite. Torn between loyalty to the Empire and the brother she had long believed dead, she found herself at a crossroads. The fall of a Titan. The rebellion's forces launched their most daring assault yet, an all-out siege on Outpost Tarsus, a key stronghold in the Outer Rim. Against overwhelming odds, Orion and his fighters crippled the Imperial fleet stationed there. News of the defeat spread like wildfire, emboldening resistance cells across the galaxy. Even within the Imperial ranks, doubts began to fester. Was the Emperor truly invincible? Sensing weakness,